You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's So You Think You Can Dance After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's So You Think You Can Dance After Show.
All right, guys, Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another episode of So You Think You Can Dance, Season 10. I'm not AJ Gibson. Surprise! I'm Kristyn Burtt, covering for AJ tonight. He'll be back next week. And you'll notice we have a little smaller crew because Jake Dupree is also out, so it means it's ladies' night here at So You Think You Can Dance. Right across from me is my co-host, Chloe West.
Hey, Kristyn, I'm so excited for Ladies' Night.
I kind of like it. I know, the ladies have taken over. And joining us, Season 4 and All-Star choreographer, it is Courtney Galiano.
Hello.
Thanks for coming back. You were here last year.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back.
We have so much to talk about. I mean, with the top 6 going to top 4 into the finale, so much dance to talk about, and I want to get that going. But I want to talk just a little bit about you, because what a story last week. And I tweeted out, I'm like, I ugly cried on my couch. I did.
Oh no, ugly cried.
No, but it was beautiful. The routine you choreographed is beautiful. You've been through a lot. Tucker had been through a lot, and you guys were paired together.
Yeah, I really enjoyed dancing with Tucker, and I don't know, I kind of admire him for his strength. Like, and he's kind of like a quiet force. And I kind of just admire him for his strength, because I feel like I just couldn't imagine having something that I loved so much taken away from me. Like, it was taken away from him, and the fact that he overcame that and, you know, said, BS, I'm going to dance again, you know, and didn't give in. I kind of totally related to that, and he kind of just gives a lot of people hope that maybe that happened too, and I don't know. I just enjoyed him as a human being before I even enjoyed dancing with him. We really clicked, and he was great. It was definitely an emotional week. I was not expecting any of that, and like it was pretty emotional. I think everybody, you know, kind of was just really nervous, but really excited to kind of do what they were good at and show what they got, and it was a good week. It was
amazing, week. And as a fan of the show and a fan of a lot of the dancers, I feel like when they brought up your MS and things like that, it was sort of a shock, because we did hear about it, but you didn't really push it in the media a lot, and it was amazing. It was like an ugly cry moment. It was so emotional. But you're doing so much for MS now, and you guys have the dance walk in September coming up.
Yes. So my friend Philip and I, he's a big marathon runner, and so we kind of clicked right after I was diagnosed. I came back, and we kind of just started hanging out, and he said he saw something on NBC from this guy Ben Aaron, and he had something called a dance walk. He was doing this like random interview, and then all of a sudden this guy passes him, and he's like dancing down the street, and then he had a whole bunch of New Yorkers behind him like dancing. And to get like New Yorkers excited about something, I mean, I am a New Yorker, so I know.
I live there. I understand. Yeah.
But like to have them dancing down the street, and so he was like, why don't we do something fun, you know? And for those of you who don't know what MS is, it's when your brain stops sending messages to your body on how to work. You know, it's a neurological autoimmune disease, and it could potentially or could not, they don't even know enough about it, you know, put you in a wheelchair and make you immobile. And
you can go through like remission and be fine for a few years and then have an issue.
There are 3 kinds. There's relapse and remitting, which is what I have, which is where you get attacks where, you know, you'll just wake up one morning and something's gone.
And was that where the blindness came in?
Yes. So it was actually a funny story. I was dancing for Pitbull on VH1 Divas Live.
You can't make this up.
No,
gosh.
and I literally woke up in the morning and I looked at my phone and I was like, well, this ain't right. Like, and it was, that award show was live and we were in like like, you know Pitbull. He loves his dancers and like, oh, he's the best. I love him. But like, we were in these like little booty shorts with like 6-inch heels, like dancing on top of desks. Yeah. And like glasses. And I was like, this is sabotage. Like, I cannot believe that. Like, but it was.
Wait, so you continued to dance?
Yeah, I was not, because the thing is that I don't ever want to not be able to do something. Like, I know this sounds so stupid, but it was Christmas time and like I really couldn't see out of my left eye and like I couldn't put on my eyeliner. And I was a disaster area, like, because I was like, oh my God, it's like I danced on season 7 tour, like with completely numb legs, like, and didn't know what it was from. And it was like, I woke up and I was like, I can't put on my eyeliner. Like, it was the first time that like I could not, and like we just throw our bodies around. So it's like,
you abuse them all the time.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
dance through pain.
Yeah, but so September 22nd, we got involved with the MS Society, and we're having something called the Beat MS Dance Walk.
We're gonna dance through
Yeah,
LA.
it's pretty. It's in LA at University High School, and I'm really excited about it. We're gonna have your favorites from So You Think You Could Dance, Dancing with the Stars, ABDC. We're gonna have performances and dance performances, and it's gonna be really amazing. And you could register at thebeatms.com, and it's $25 to register. And there are VIP passes available. We'll have raffles. It's just gonna be a day of dance.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
fun.
Yeah,
We should try and make it out, Chloe.
Yeah,
Definitely
yes.
start your own team. You could donate. You could start AfterBuzz TV.
Yeah, we'll be team
Oh my
after.
God,
Yeah,
team
Team
that would be
AfterBuzz.
awesome. And University High School is right on the west side, right?
Yep, in Los
I know
Angeles,
exactly
yeah.
where it is. Yep.
So I'm excited about it, and I hope it becomes an annual thing, because you know they have great things, the MS Society, but you know what? Like, everybody enjoys dancing, and they actually started something. They're coming up with something called prescriptive dance for MS patients and patients with neurological diseases, because MS affects, you know, your balance, MS affects your memory, MS affects your speech, it affects your movement, it affects sensation.
So then
And
dance can
all of
help with
those
so
things,
much.
Absolutely.
Well, and I heard that your doctor said that one of the best things for you would be to keep dancing.
Oh my gosh,
to
that was
keep
my
your muscles
first.
strong.
Absolutely, that was my first question. Like, I was like, okay, whatever. Am I going to be able to dance? Like,
It's the best therapy.
Yeah, and to me, it's just like, you know, when I'm dancing and I feel like stopping, it's like the thought, especially working with Tucker, like the thought of like not being able to do something because of that really kind of puts a fire under my tush.
It does. And I got to tell you, it was a triumphant return, and we were so
Yes,
glad to
thank
see it. So we
you.
just wanted to
I was really
talk a
thankful.
little bit about that. We're going to get into now what we saw
Yeah.
last night on So You
Yeah.
Think You Can Dance. Nigel Mary and Jesse Tyler Ferguson were
Who
our
I
judges.
love. How
So-
much do you love Modern Family? I love it so much.
He's so great.
He's
and
he's such
funny.
a good judge. Okay, his comments tonight were killing me. The Carly Rae Jepsen comment.
Oh, he killed me.
I was dying.
Amazing.
She was a terrible judge. Let's just call a spade a spade. But she was out of her
the poor
element.
thing.
If it was American Idol, it would have been great.
Totally, but it's really difficult. Like, she didn't know, the poor thing.
When you don't have the
yeah,
vocabulary.
what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say?
That, and I think this show specifically has guest judges who are huge fans of the show.
Totally.
And who have watched the show season
Right.
after season, where other shows aren't like that. And most other competition shows, she could have totally gotten away with being
Right.
like, that was awesome.
Right.
You killed it.
No, you got to be educated, especially when you're, you know, there's people who watch a show there's a lot of dancers that watch a show,
And
so
it's-
it's like you
yeah.
gotta know what you're saying.
And it's why like Christina Applegate is a great judge.
Yeah.
Even Jesse Tyler Ferguson, they do
Jenna
have that.
Elfman was an awesome judge. She
had some
was
good
pretty
comments.
She did.
She's incredible.
And did you
Yeah.
see those pictures of her?
incredible.
I know.
Her old
I was like,
ballet
look at
photos.
those legs.
Yeah, I had no
Legs
idea.
to here. Oh, she
my
was the
God.
Jasmine Harper of her time.
I know. It's pretty awesome.
All right, let's get into that group dance. Sean Cheeseman, and I thought this was interesting because everyone was coupled, and it was two of the original couples.
Yes.
Kind of interesting that they're still standing. But this is the dance I called it. The Lion King meets Alvin Ailey Revelations meets Chuck Davis.
I mean,
Yes.
that totally sounds like Sean. Cheeseman.
Does it not? But very joyous. I thought it was a great opening number.
I loved it. This is probably one of my favorite opening numbers. I just thought it was so beautiful, and I loved their group work when they would get together as a group, and then one person would sort of stand out.
Yeah.
And they did it a few times, and it was just really beautiful.
He's great to work with, and he's like a really great visionary, and he always uses these like awesome props, and like he's a really great
skirts
choreo-
with just the simple
Yeah.
leotard on the girls. Very
Yeah.
classic.
Well, that
Ailey.
is very. I was just gonna say that's very Alvin Ailey.
I think that's why Revelations. If you guys have
Yeah.
never seen Revelations, go to YouTube and find
Yeah.
it. It's I mean, stunning.
Yeah.
Groundbreaking work. We get right to it, and we go to the first couple. It's Paul with All-Star Catherine in a Tice Diorio jazz piece. This was fast. This was furious.
It was like the jazz we were talking about last time when we were like, we miss 80s jazz.
Here it is.
Yeah, it was
It
very
gave it to us.
Yeah, it was classic jazz, and like, but he's always good for that. He's always good for some classic jazz, and unlike. I love a lot of the time that Tice doesn't really focus so much on a story or a it's just dance. You know what I mean? And I don't
And it
know.
holds its own without a story.
Yeah, like he's just amazing at what he does, and I thought Paul did a great job. Like I'm a big fan of Paul. I was really sad to see him go.
I
last
was
night.
too.
I was reading a lot of the comments on the blog today, and I think there was a lot of pissed off Paul fans.
Oh, so many.
There were so many.
I'll call this out. I feel like because there's been a little like we're keeping this person.
Yeah.
There might have been a little manipulation behind the scenes because Paul won. This is what a lot of people think, and I'll throw it out there because he won. So You Think You Can Dance Armenia. Some people felt like he was not allowed to move to the finale because. Is it a good story or a bad story if you won two countries? And because there was no rule saying you can audition for
Yeah.
another country, and I wonder if they'll change the rule. I don't know, but he was so well
No,
trained.
I feel like there should be a rule, kind of, sorta. No.
It doesn't bother me. At first, it sort of did. Like I was.
No, but it's kind of like. Okay, sorry, I interrupted.
No, yeah.
No, go ahead.
I just kind of feel like it's a pretty special process that when you're a part of it, like. It's kind of like a once in a lifetime experience, and unless you're on the show and you experience like what it's like, I kind of feel like you don't understand. And I feel like if I would have gone in, it's almost like he was an all-star a little bit because I feel like he went in knowing
Knowing the process.
knowing kind of the process.
He totally did because
you know?
I remember in the first few episodes, he knew what to say in all the little packages that came on. He knew how to present himself already.
He's very well media trained, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
This is a
That's
good
an
thing.
amazing thing, and especially but just FYI, he really is that person. Like he is that like sweet, funny, like good kid that you kind of you're just like I would totally want to be friends with him. Like he's totally like that. But I watched Catherine a whole lot.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
She's spectacular.
She's so good.
And you do hear the judges' comments sometimes, just gravitating
She
towards
is just
Catherine.
like-
But you know what? Nigel gave him a great compliment
Oh,
by
yeah.
saying that he, on their little papers that they get, it shouldn't say Latin Ballroom, it should just say dancer. And I totally agree.
And I'm going to say this about Paul because I think he was one of the most versatile dancers on this season.
I think he was.
And I don't think he had a misstep this season. I really don't.
Yeah.
And everyone had a misstep somewhere along the way. And a lot of people had missteps tonight or last night. And I think that it's one of those things that, so people see that and they go, why did he leave? And who knows? Is it the judges? Is it the voting?
Right.
We'll never know. But Nigel did tweet out, take a look at everyone's Twitter account. You'll kind of see even just the number of followers. That's who gets pushed into the finale.
Yeah.
And Aaron and Fiction have the highest number of followers.
And honestly, when I saw
crazy.
Paul
That's
leave,
so
I got it. I was like, I get it. You're leaving. And because when I see Aaron and Fiction, I feel so connected to them. And I want them to do well. I really wanted to see them in the finale and watch them dance more.
Yeah.
Where I didn't really have that same feeling with Paul.
him.
It was like, I like Paul, and I think he's a really great dancer, and he seems so fun and sweet.
Right.
But I was okay not seeing him dance more.
Okay. I just have like I have a hard time like I guess because I so picture myself like on the other side of the fence. So I think at this point in the game, I feel like they all feel like winners. Like, I feel like they're all
on
like,
tour.
yeah, they're like, I'm good. Like,
People know their name.
They know their name, their household name. They like.
They've got everyone's tweeting them, telling how much
That's what
they
I
love
mean.
them.
And I feel like they've all gained their little followings. And I know, like, when I left, I was like, I'm good. Like, I didn't even know I was going to get this far.
And
So
Haley
I feel like
felt like that. You could see that
you
with
could
Haley.
see it.
happy.
She's
Yeah.
such a hard worker, that girl.
And here's the thing. So You Think You Can Dance is the best training ground for our dancers out there. You guys all go out and you work. And I think that that's what you want for a career.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
Haley's gonna work. Haley and
If you-
Paul will both.
Yeah,
Oh,
if you work it the right way, you'll work, because they basically, like, there are dancers in the industry that there's a lot of people who don't, there's a lot of dancers that don't like this show, and it's because they've had to pave their way and it's taken them so much longer, and now it's like there are these 18-year-old kids like that come in, and you're working with Mia Michaels and Nappy Tabs, and you're thrown into the
You're
fire.
on the Academy Awards
Yeah, and it's
in
like
6
they have,
months.
right, and it's like they have no choice but to work with you, and you have no choice but to work with them.
Right.
So it's like you might as well just do the best that you could do, and then hope for the best after the show ends.
And you have to learn the media game, and Paul's great at that. So
Yeah.
let's get into Amy's solo. She's so emotional. She's such a good dancer. There were a few stumbles through this out of her
bit.
turns. I've got to imagine it's nerves at this point in the
Yeah.
game. I've got to imagine you're just inside, you're freaking out.
Yeah, the poor, like, that girl doesn't stumble. Like, that's the thing. Like, when I watch her dance, I'm just like, so I'm sure it was just nerves, and rightfully so. Holy
I
crap.
forgot her dad was Jazz Dad.
Jazz Dad from audition
they
round.
did the package, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was Amy. And I felt so connected to her again, and really excited that she's made it this far. And I loved her solo. I thought it was beautiful, and
I
I'm
thought it was
so
beautiful,
glad
too.
everybody got to do a solo. I love that they did that, and they made that choice for the show before the finale.
Sure,
that
because
everybody
then it's
does
like
their
a
solo.
reminder of, like, them as individuals, not as them as, like, this couple.
Yeah, and I've been on the fence about, when they make Dance for Your Life kind of solos earlier in the season, but this is the time when I go, okay, I remember what you're all about and where you came from and
Right.
why you stood out
Yeah.
in the audition round. So that's always nice to
That's
see those
great.
solos back.
Yeah.
We're going to move into Haley with season 4 winner. We keep talking season 4, Joshua Allen in a Nappy Tabs hip hop routine. I loved this.
I loved it too, and I love watching Josh dance. Josh to me is like a firecracker when he dances, and he's like a brother to me. So I get excited to see him perform, and I think Haley did a great job. I mean, I would feel intimidated almost, like, having to dance with him, because he's full out,
Yeah.
I would have hid in a
And-
closet during rehearsal.
He's I think it was a great routine. I think Nappy Tabs did a great job. They always manage to, like, reinvent. I don't know how they do it. It's pretty unbelievable.
They're incredible. And
They're even better this season after they've had their son
baby.
after
So
London. I know.
We'll talk. That's some inspiration.
Yeah, there you go. But the one thing I liked about Haley this week, I felt like she took Jenna Elfman's note last week very well. And Jenna was like, just go all out.
Right.
Forget about it.
Stop
Your
holding
technique is
back.
there.
Great.
It's going to help you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. But I thought she fought for this number, and I thought that was good because, she's not a trained hip-hop dancer, and it's hard when you're a super technician to let go and let that happen.
You could see in her face that she was, like, she was balls to the wall, that girl.
She was
like trying so hard.
you could really see it in her face. You're right, because she was trying so hard, and for me, I just wanted her back to loosen up.
I know.
Just give that lower
so
back
hard.
a little, loosen it up just a little bit, because you just, when you see a hip hop, you want her to sink a little bit more into it, loosen her back, let it
Just
pop
loosen
out.
up.
Get in the pocket.
and it was she did every move correctly. She really did dance it right. It was the in between the moves where, somebody like a comforter, Jasmine, would have added a little
It's like
hip
that
or
little
whatever.
swag.
Yeah, and it's all in between the moves because she really did dance it right.
Yeah, she did.
And it was just those little in between the moves parts that I wanted to see her loosen up a little bit. But it is so hard to come as a trained dancer,
And it
who's
was
always been
fast.
taught.
It's not like it was some
fast.
it's not like it was some sort of, like, groovy. It was really intricate and it was really fast.
And I think like stuff that we're talking about now here, it's like nitpicky little stuff because we're talking about all of these dancers are great, and they're doing such a good job,
Sure,
and they're
it's
at
down
the
to the
end
wire
here, so
now.
it's down to the wire. So these little things make a little difference on how people may vote and look at them. So
And I think it's the most difference on TV. If you were there in the audience, you would never be able to see that. But on film, it's a little bit like
Well, sure, the energy has to like jump through the screen. It can't.
and I can take my DVR and go, let me watch that again.
Exactly. And the film slows it down just a tiny bit. People don't realize that, but film slows everything down just a tiny bit. And when it's movement, you notice. So it's little nitpicky things because at the end of the day, for her to do a Nappy Taps number like that was awesome with Josh, especially and like
amazing.
Come on, yeah.
I was really happy that they asked him back.
Yeah.
Another one that I'm like, come on, we like this, you know. And I like that they're bringing in some different all-stars, and
Me too.
I think it breeds new energy, and I think that the fans are excited to see some of
Totally.
their favorites that we haven't seen in a while back.
And it's like what you said. It's like, you know, when you saw the packages and you're like, oh yeah, that's why I liked him. It's like, so when somebody like Josh comes back, you're like, oh yeah, you were insane.
Yeah, I went back and
Like, I
watched
get
so
why
many
you
Josh
won.
dances.
Yeah.
Because I was
It
like,
sends you to YouTube. It sends you back to YouTube.
Totally.
All right, we're gonna go to fiction. His solo, and all I wrote, I was like, damn! I don't know what else to say.
So good, so fast. Talk about fast.
He's
oh my gosh.
insane at what he does. He's pretty brilliant at what he does, and he's really young too, right?
19.
Yeah, he's really young too, and like, I just can't imagine how much he's gonna grow after this. Like,
oh my gosh,
he's so sweet, and he's so like, when I just watch him dance, I'm like, ugh. It's just like
the performance. It's all there. That's what I love. And I'll tell you, they are doing Step Up 5. I know they're just in rehearsals now. Twitch is doing it. Comfort's doing it.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was like, I
believe
bet
Catherine's doing it.
Catherine,
too.
I think she was in the last few, I think.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. How much do you want to make a bet that someone's going to find some role for him?
I hope they
come
do.
on.
Timing wise.
I hope they do.
I bet they can do it.
I hope he's like a little brother to Twitch or something.
my
and
That would be awesome. How cute would that be?
Yeah.
Let's call the casting directors. Let's make it happen for fiction.
Mr. Shankman.
Yeah. Mr. Shank. Oh, yeah. You know, this is actually a really good point because Adam Shankman is producing it. He told me when I talked to him earlier this year, he said he keeps a big, huge binder of all the So You Think You Can Dance dancers, and every once in a while he'll think, oh, I have this project coming up. Let me call this person.
Oh, yeah.
Let me do this.
They don't forget.
They don't forget, and
Yeah.
I can't imagine fiction not being used. 'Cause Cyrus is in it, too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Cyrus, I saw the
Maybe
photo.
Another one
Jasmine will
that's,
be
like,
in it.
insane.
Yeah, and then have the romance of Cyrus and Jasmine. No. Okay, let's go on to Aaron and Melanie in a Spencer Liff Broadway show. Spencer Liff has officially been announced as the choreographer for Hedwig and the Angry Inch with Neil
that's
Patrick
it.
Harris. Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh my God, I
Gosh.
love him.
So I just want to congratulate Spencer on that. We have loved having him on the
Yes.
show.
He's a good guy.
When he came on, he told us that he was doing a Broadway show and he wouldn't tell us which one it was.
Oh,
but She guessed it
yay.
right. So that's so
I
exciting. that
guessed
it's
it, and I was
official.
like, and I tweeted him, and he's like, or I sent a private message, and he's like, "Don't you dare say anything." And I'm like, I won't, I promise. And it was off the
That's
record.
awesome.
It's now
He's
public.
in New York, right? Or is he here?
He lives here now.
And where's he? He's going to New York to do this?
Yep,
On
Neil-
Broadway or touring?
on Broadway, I believe it opens in March 2014
That's
with Neil
awesome.
Patrick Harris. Neil Patrick's moving.
gosh.
east.
He's the bomb. I love Neil Patrick.
It's gonna be a great show.
Is he amazing?
He's incredible.
He's so cute.
Yeah.
So this one became about oops, the hand slip. I mean, and it looked like Melanie hit her head pretty hard, like on the bounce back. Maybe.
I wasn't even looking for that.
But this was covered up so well that, like, had they not made such a big deal out of it, I'm not
Yeah,
necessarily
that you would have
sure
even seen
really
it.
noticed. You would go, oh, they kind of slipped and.
no, I thought it was choreographed. I really did, and I had to run to Twitter and ask Spencer, like, was that on purpose? But as they were talking, you learned that it wasn't. But talk about being professional, both of them. They just played within the characters,
Yeah.
and Melanie
Well,
played
sure.
it
That's
off.
what you're trained to do. You're trained to just keep going, and so she did what she was supposed to do.
And she added it into the character.
Hopefully,
She
minus a concussion.
She stood up and pushed him back, and like you were like, oh, he was supposed to drop her because
Right.
that's the whole story.
Right.
I just kept going in
It
that
was
storyline.
incredible.
It's great, and I think when you perform week after week and constantly, you're trained as a dancer. dancer to do that, but then when you get in performance, you have the quick thinking of just keep in character, just keep going, whatever. You fall, you get up.
You learn that at such a young age. It's pretty. It's
Your
pretty
ballet slipper
amazing.
falls off, let it fall off.
Keep going. Yeah. Things have happened on stage that you're just
Your bun falls out. That happens a lot
Everything.
when you're little. The bobby pins
I
go
always
in.
like it when people fall and then you get off stage and you're like, oh my God, are you okay? You fell? And they're like, I fell? Because they just get
It's
up
like
so
the
fast.
reaction time is so, yeah.
The other thing that was brought up was the shoulders. His shoulders were up quite a bit. Is it the injury? Is he being, nursing it and being a little tender with it? Probably.
That injury, like,
It's bad, I heard.
that is no joke. Like, tearing your that's your rotator. Like, and he did that dance with Chelsea last week. Like, that's what you're rotating, you're moving. That is, he's a big, tough dude, and as sweet as could be, by the way. And like that, I hope, you know what? Sometimes I think it's great. It's a smart dancer that errs on the side of caution just a little bit when it comes to their body. So if that's what it was, I'm not mad.
And you know what? I'm glad Mary brought it up this week because they didn't bring it up last week when they talked about his shoulders.
He was
talked
upset
about
about
it.
that. Yeah. He was like, I hope that people know that like my shoulders hurt and that like, he was really like hoping, because he's such a hard worker that like I think he was just really. He was really kicking himself that, like, he's like, why did this have to happen, like, now, out of all times?
And this has been a great story for him, not in the top 20. He takes someone else's place and has made it to the finale, which is incredible, and I love that about him. That injury oftentimes does lead to surgery, and that's the one thing. He's got tour coming up, so there's just simple things
Anna
to think about.
has always said, Anna Shrubinskaya, when we talk about dancers and surgery, she's always said as a dancer, you try and work through the pain as much as you can because once you have surgery, your body's different.
Yeah.
And you can't dance the way you did, even though, like, technically the doctors are like, oh, yes, your shoulder is better than it was.
Just the recovery time alone is like, it's as
things.
long as tour would be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
And no one wants to miss out on the experience of tour. I know that.
absolutely not. It's the best experience ever.
Aw.
Yeah.
Let's go into Jasmine. Gorgeous, exquisite, and loved the simple dress. If my legs could do that,
She is like borderline contortionist. That girl. Like she's
a
I was like,
protractor.
literally, I was like, where are you taking that leg? Like, where is it going?
And you know, it's
Another
amazing.
hemisphere.
She really is so tall. I never
She's super
expect
tall.
that type of flexibility and athleticism from someone so tall. You always kind of expect them to be
a little awkward or something.
Yeah.
But like, even if you look at her, like how she was next to Twitch last week, she was almost like just as tall as Twitch.
She's tall.
Like, she's super tall, but she's by no means awkward at all.
Yeah, she's
like,
totally sits
quick
in her
and-
body, and her solo was amazing. I love
it was
her
my favorite
solos.
girl solo of the night, I would say.
Me too.
She's so beautiful. And you know what? She's
so pretty.
She's, oh my God. I found myself last night, I was like,
Staring at her.
like, she's so
I got a girl
beautiful.
crush. I've said I had a
Yeah.
girl crush all season.
She's so beautiful. But even in her solo, like, I just think she's different than just being a technician.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she just has something else.
an
has, like,
ethereal
her-
quality.
Her own
An
style.
ethereal quality. That is it.
I'm just dragging out some vocabulary
are.
words.
And she danced to an a cappella song. Can we talk about that? That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love when that happens. And
That's difficult.
yeah.
Yeah, because usually
And her
like, you have to
movement
respond to like, the
mimics-
crescendo.
Yeah, her movement mimics sort of what Beyonce's voice was doing in the song.
Yeah,
It was really cool. I wrote "so beautiful" twice without even realizing it. I was just typing and I was like, "So beautiful."
Yeah,
she's so beautiful.
We all have a crush on her. Let's just bottom line. We're going to Paul's solo, and I wrote, "Teen girls everywhere are screaming." He really is. I mean, he's adorable. But what I loved about his ballroom solo, because we saw Alan do a lot of his solos, and I was like, I want a little bit more with the choreography. I'm not sure what was missing, and I felt like Paul really delivered with that solo.
I think this was the best male ballroom solo ever on the show. Usually when it's ballroom in general, male or female, it's not fun to watch their solos. It was so fun watching Paul's solo, and he did so much more than you thought he could do, and he really impressed me with his athleticism in his solo.
I
It was
agree.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think it was awesome too. I just think when a ballroom guy is dancing, you're like, oh my God. Like
'Cause
when
they're
you
used to
watch
presenting the girl.
Pasha or when you watch Dima, it's like 100% man. You know what I mean? And with Paul, it's like you said, like teen girls everywhere are screaming. Like he's like such a little like tween.
He's a Disney kid.
Yeah, like
Disney is all over him, I bet.
Yeah, like he should just be like in a Disney movie or something.
Yeah, totally.
So I loved his solo. I thought he was amazing, but but I think that'll come with age and experience. There's
He's gonna grow into his man muscles.
oomph. Yeah, there's like a yeah.
But he has that Molly Gray, Kent Boyd, Teen Beach movie.
100%.
So good to have. You're going to work a lot.
Yeah. Longevity.
Longevity in your career. Before we move into the next dance, I just want, Chloe, you're going to tell us quickly about, I know, Serial Buddies. Quick synopsis because everyone knows about it.
Well, if you guys go on iTunes, which you can find us on iTunes as well, and you can rate us and give us 5 stars, and we always thank you so much. You can also find Serial Buddies, which you can find on AfterBuzz TV website. And it's an amazing movie produced by the great team here at AfterBuzz, and the proceeds of it come all back to us. So it's hilarious. It's just a funny comedy about serial killers, and
So funny.
it's a really silly comedy, and it's just really fun, and it's family friendly. And so go ahead, check it out. Yeah, and everything supports AfterBuzz, which is why we don't have to have crazy commercials or anything like that, so we can get back to your favorite TV shows.
Keep our content free for you. I like
Yeah.
that. All right, we're going to move right into fiction and Whitney. Jonathan Roberts, hello. We haven't seen him in a while doing the Foxtrot. All right, on a trip with Skaya's ex-husband. Oh. So, the romance in the ballroom world. This was a harder one. Bottom line, ballroom is hard. And it's interesting to me that they make the dancers do ballroom. They don't make them do ballet or tap, which I'd love to see a tap number.
I would love to see a tap number. It's just like tap could severely go down in flames. Like if you have not, like if you have not trained in tap, it's almost like. I don't even know what that would be like. I'd love to see it.
I'd like to
would
see
be cool. Like
maybe a group number.
Totally, or even like a fusion, or like where some people tapped. Like I don't know,
A hip hop tap. Maybe.
Ballet though. Ballet should be.
Ballet
should be.
Yeah, most of the other than the hip hop dancers, most of them and the animators, most of them have had.
No, but look at somebody
ballet training.
like look at somebody as big and as manly as like a day. Adae and Melissa did that beautiful ballet
Yes,
routine.
I loved
and it was,
that.
And he's not this like technician where it's like he's this like ballet boy. Like, he's a dude,
Yep, and
for how many contemporary numbers that are on the show, they could do a ballet number.
Yeah, I think
we'll
that'd be
get into
beautiful.
that a little
Yes,
later on because
but-
by the time we hit the last contemporary, I was like,
Oh my gosh.
and it was a beautiful number, but I just was like, give me a tap, give me a ballet, give me something.
You know how they could do a tap is they could do like a 20s tap or like a Broadway tap.
little 42nd Street.
Yeah,
just gonna
they
say
could do
that.
something like that. Although coming from the tap world, we don't love that kind of tap because that's very like Follies and Showgirl. And when you like tap, you want to and you see it in Aaron's solo, you want to be on your heels.
Very like street. Like,
you like it
loose.
on their heels versus on the toes.
But you could do it in a Broadway number, and I think that
You
is what
could, and that could be a
do.
good start, to bringing it to the show.
Yeah, because it is tough because in tap, so much of it is just the hours getting those flaps.
syncopated rhythm too.
Yeah,
is hard.
getting the flaps right in there and knowing what you're doing. And it's so much of it is just like your ankles getting used to it.
Yeah. Right.
But
It's like
at
severe
ballroom,
shins.
yeah, but ballroom's kind of the same.
So let's
too.
shuffle off to Buffalo and talk about that Foxtrot.
Look at that.
Good transition. Okay. It was hard. He had some sloppy feet. He had some lines that weren't great. But, Mary talked about his hold, saying, she was really impressed with that. His chin was out a little bit. But, he
was so trying to keep it. Like,
he's such a hard worker.
yeah.
I love that. It was hard. Whitney is like the sexiest thing.
Oh
and
my
this was a
God.
sexy Foxtrot.
Which
and
is
you're like,
weird to begin with. But I think that was sort of it for me. I was like, I don't want to watch a sexy Foxtrot. And if Whitney's in it, it's going to be sexy. Like, even if
no
they're not
matter what she's
trying.
in, she could wear a paper bag and be like the hot singer.
I know. And I think Jonathan was cringing a little bit, but sometimes I look at this and I like that sometimes the choreographers are called out because they're just judged as much as the dancers. The dancers do what they can with the piece that they're
true.
given.
Yeah.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
I think that was what was so. I think that's why everybody was freaking out last week because it was like you're just so used to being a dancer. Like when you're dancing, you just do what you're given. That it's like when you have to. Wait, you're choreographing and dancing? Oh my God.
Or someone like Travis who hasn't danced in a while.
Yeah, he was extremely, extremely nervous.
Amazing.
extremely nervous. But I thought the choreo was pretty good. I thought it was cool to do something different, but I totally, in my head, think something very different when I think Foxtrot.
I think Paris and
Yeah, like
things
like very like
Ginger Rogers,
Yeah,
Fred
yeah.
Astaire. And I think he had that concept, and sometimes you execute
Like
a concept
opulent,
and you
like-
think that didn't come out the way I
Right.
wanted it to. And it's
Right.
just the way it happens. You try, you take a risk. Sometimes
Yeah.
it works, and sometimes it doesn't. We go into Haley's solo, and I just wrote pretty because she's such a pretty dancer. Her technique is very pretty. I'm not sure that I really got anything more out of that than it was beautiful.
I wrote really pretty good, but it's at the end of the day for me it was just this beautiful girl who's a really good dancer moving versus when you watch Jasmine solo or
Right.
something who's really saying something, and she was just
She's very
moving beautifully.
safe.
Yeah.
She's really
Safe.
safe, and she's like, you know why? It's that like it's that posture that it's like to let go and just exactly like Jenna was saying last. Yeah, I just stare at her face. I'm just like, you're so
her
gorgeous.
face and her abs.
Yeah,
her body's
right. I'm
beautiful.
literally like, and your feet, they're like hooks.
yes, her feet are beautiful.
Her technique is stunning.
It's so insane, but she's safe. But it's almost like you can't. That's what she's been trained to be.
Yeah.
So it's really hard. It's easier to train to be her than it is for her to untrain to loosen up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I understand that mentality. I grew up in the ballet world, and I was a technician. I was not the natural mover that had that like emotional connection, and it's hard to
Let go.
it's hard to let go and reprogram your
yeah.
brain. And still,
Yeah.
I'm still a little bit like not a dancer anymore, but I
get
operate
it.
my life. She's a perfectionist. She's type A. She's always
Absolutely.
succeeded. I bet she's done really well in school too. I see it right there. It's a blueprint, but blueprint is not on the show anymore. Okay, let's go right into Jasmine and Neil in a Tice contemporary piece. I totally got lost in this dance.
Yeah.
Just the movement quality, the two of them together as partners. It was gorgeous. I just got swept away.
I love watching Neil dance. He's just like so incredible.
Yeah.
But like a dude.
like a
when
quality that's
yeah,
hard to
like-
pinpoint.
Because
Yeah.
you know what it is when I noticed it when he was standing there at the end of the dance. You watch him, you look at him, and you're like, that guy is a dancer.
Yeah.
He can move his body.
Yeah, I think that's why I like watching him dance so much, because he's not this like this like little like skinny scummy like technician. Like he's like a dude, and when he dances like
he
like
looks like
dude.
a linebacker.
Yeah,
and
that
and
could
it's,
move.
Yeah, it's cool to see him move so beautifully.
Yeah.
And okay, this dance,
It was
the
so
beginning,
beautiful.
when they were moving against the wind and they just had the paper floating with the wind. It was the most beautiful image.
Did you guys think though when they were like talking, Tice is like, there's been a lot of like tragedies and natural disasters. I was like, oh, here we go with the crazy story.
Yes,
you know,
yes,
and they're like
yes.
hurricanes and tornadoes,
Yeah.
but it was really well executed.
Yeah, he did it the right way.
he did.
That it wasn't like ugh.
I think the package was a little much. I think the package sort
It's
of set me
dramatic.
up. The package, I was like, oh God, is this going to be like the bullying dance? And I was like, is this just like supposed to make me cry? Like, is that all they're trying to do?
Am I being manipulated here?
Yeah. And that's like sort of how I felt. I was like getting ready for it. I was like, oh no. And then it was just a beautiful art piece.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
And it was another moment where you're like, I wish they just didn't say anything
And you
for a
just let them
package so
dance.
I could just see the dance.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, hopefully, if there's a next season, I might, when I watch it, fast forward the package, watch the dance, and then watch the package.
That's actually pretty
Ooh.
cool, because there are a lot of times where I just fast forward to the dance and like I kind of just love like making my own assumption
about this
of
a
like
lot.
what it's about, and like because then you're not tainted, like you're able to take it for really what it is in
pure.
front of your face, you know what I mean?
It's pure dance.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot about that last week, saying sometimes I feel like the story is over-explained, and,
Right.
and then I get like, I don't like that story. But that's maybe what we'll all do next season.
Yeah.
No packages until after.
That's pretty cool. That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
Yeah, it would be fun
Good
to
thoughts
try
come
it.
out of AfterBuzz. We move into Aaron's solo. Tap, tap, tap. This is great. I love seeing Aaron. I love watching him. There is just something about him. He's so different than all
And
the
for
other male
as
dancers.
big as he is, he's pretty light on his feet.
Yes.
Like he's huge. He's really big, and yeah, like but he's very like light on his feet.
It's so interesting talking about Neil and Aaron and being such like manly men. And I realize, I mean, Mary said she wants to dance with Aaron. And I totally agree. It's watching a very manly man dance beautifully.
Yeah.
There's something like, oh, wow, I see it and I get it. And there's something like when Aaron would scoop up his partners, like I guess
You're
it's
like,
as a girl.
"Wee!"
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I want to be there.
I know. I love that. Like, I love partnering. So I'm getting to partner with somebody that's really strong and that can handle you. Like,
amazing.
yeah, I always get partnered with like, because I'm small.
petite,
Yeah, like I always get partnered with the smaller guys. So when I get like a tough, like good partner,
you're gonna catch air.
I'm like so excited. Yeah, because they just like toss me around. I'm like, this is great. I feel
so
like a
much
little
fun.
like Polly Pocket.
And I think having where his dad has a music background and he's got a music
Yeah.
background, he's got a musicality.
tell.
You can tell, which is really nice. Amy and Alex in a Bollywood piece by It's Not Cool. Is that how you pronounce it?
Not cool.
Oh gosh. I want to see Bollywood. I don't want to see it every week because then I'll get tired of it. But like every other week is probably good enough. This was just incredible. That amazing leap over the shoulders, the knee turns.
The knee turns.
Oh my God.
It was so hard. It was so fast. They performed it well. They executed it well.
She did a great job because she's so like she was saying in her package, I'm so not a diva. 'Cause she's
said
really
she's a
not.
sweet girl.
She's like the sweetest thing, and she's this like for as a hard hitting and like beast of a dancer that she is. She's like this little like soft spoken like sweet thing, and like So I think it was probably cool for her to get to do something like that, and like. And Alex is just brilliant. I love watching him.
Oh my
he gets better and better.
He's so amazing.
I think the show has fun bringing him back on because he was hurt his season.
Yeah.
And we're like, it's almost like a treat for all the fans. You're
Yeah.
like, ooh, Alex is back and he's gonna do Bollywood,
Yeah.
which he couldn't do on his season, and it's fun for us to see.
His
Alex.
body looks good too.
Doesn't
like,
he? He looks
very
like
fit.
big. Yeah, like
Yeah.
he looks like he's been working out or
I've
something.
really enjoyed watching him this season. We've had him here in the studio, and he's always a great guest,
Yeah.
but really a great dancer
Yeah.
too. One of my
Amy
favorite
was
numbers.
she was like a little sexy in that
She
number.
was sexy, and she wasn't just her playfulness, which
Yeah.
Bollywood has so much of. But what I really loved about this number was all of the tricks they were doing, how fast it was, and it was a really
difficult.
tough Bollywood number. And it wasn't just about the hands and the feet, which so much of what they do on the show when they do Bollywood is very much they're like, we're going to showcase the hands and we're going
Well,
to
sure,
showcase
you're like
the
offending
feet.
a whole thing if you do it
Right.
wrong.
And well, that and it's like now that we know what Bollywood is and we
Yeah.
have tasted it before, we've seen it, it was really cool to see just a beautiful dance of it.
Ballet.
Yeah, it wasn't just a basic Bollywood. It was a hard
it was really hard,
Bollywood.
and it's difficult when you put them side by side to get them to like to make sure that you're both doing the same exact thing, so it looks clean and crisp and not sloppy. Like that's really
And you're at a pace
and
that's
it's
like
it's
this.
hard.
They had a little trouble on one of the releases, which was coming down to the floor, and she got a little stuck, and I'm like, oh, just go, keep on going. It was funny. Something like that wasn't
talked about.
and then you talk
And they
about
also missed a connection before the kiss, and they didn't talk about that, where they talked about Aaron and Melanie's miss. Although Aaron and Melanie's, maybe they talked about it because they had such a good recovery.
Yeah.
And it was so in character, and it was just like, was that choreographed? What was
Yeah.
happening? But this one, what was so cool about this dance is you really see Amy's physicality
Oh my
as
God,
a female
she's
dancer.
so strong.
And
Yeah, tell us about that, because you
Yeah.
said you saw her. She just was like packed
She's
with muscle.
literally like like she's a powerhouse. She has like a full blown 6-pack.
Is she like 5'1", 5
She's
feet?
tiner than me, and I'm 5'1".
oh my gosh.
Yeah, like
She's
she's really
tiny.
tiny, but she could kick my butt. Like her legs could crush things. Like
That's awesome.
they are
love
so
it.
strong, and her body's just like jacked. And I mean that show does something to you, but it's like she is as strong as ever. She's really muscular. Like,
Awesome.
I love
Yeah.
that. All right, I want to move into the last 3 dances and then get to some fan questions. I know we've got a lot for Courtney. So Haley and Paul, no, we moved back into partners. The only people that didn't have their original partner are Haley and Paul, so they got put together, and this is the first time they've worked together as partners, they said. DeCaspery, contemporary, and this is where I kind of got to the point I was like, I think that this contemporary piece is very pretty, but I feel like I wanted something else, and maybe this is because it's coming off of Bollywood that I was like,
yeah, the energy.
Maybe. You know what? But I thought the song choice was brilliant.
It was gorgeous.
It was very beautiful. And the small movements won me over in this dance. When his feet would adjust her while she was on the ground, I thought that was really beautiful. And up until this dance, I was like, I know Haley's gonna go home. I see it. And I could see it at the beginning of the episode, and I was like, I'm not upset about it. But when I watched her do this one, I really was like, oh, you know what? She is a beautiful dancer. And, like, she danced this really well. And I see why she's made it this far, because Haley was part of that group of girls who, for a lot of the beginning episodes, we were like, who is Haley? Which one's that one again?
There's a lot of brunettes.
But that's great that she fought her way to where she is.
And remember, she started out with Curtis, and Curtis sort of, he shined through the audition rounds and the first week, and then started to falter a little bit. And I just think it was just youth.
Yeah.
And that was really all it was, because Curtis is charming. And he's going on tour, so anyone, he's an alternate on the tour, so that'll be a lot of fun. But I thought Haley did a great job just throughout the whole season. And I felt like all the comments to Paul and Haley, if you watch them back throughout the show, you knew that both of them were going home. You hear what Nigel, like, you've had a good season, blah, blah, blah. And Aaron's like, when he talked to Aaron, he'd be like, this is going to be great for you when you're in the finale. If you look back, there's little clues that he knew who was going home.
Yeah. And it was just, I thought it was nice for them to be able to dance this together. And it was pretty, and it was a good send-off, I think, because I think Paul dances contemporary incredibly.
He's amazing.
He's a well-rounded dancer.
He's so versatile, and like in whatever they give him,
he's a booker. He's going to be bookable out there in the dance world. Fiction and Amy, Dave Scott doing hip hop.
I'm so excited to see them back together. I must say.
They've been kind of this fun, magical couple all season, and they've got great chemistry.
And doing hip hop, because we love all their old hip hop stuff. So to see them doing this hip hop again, it was very exciting.
And you could just see Fiction's in his element. Like, he was so comfortable. He felt great.
It was probably really refreshing after
the Foxtrot. Heck yeah. He was like, you're right. Like, 'cause I think probably for him, he was thinking all show, like, I just got to get through the Foxtrot, and I'm fine
and
after.
then I'm good.
Yeah. And at least it was bookended between his solo.
Isn't it interesting how much you guys connect to them as partners? I think that's interesting.
Yes, you connect to a partnership so much.
Sure, because that's who you saw them with. Like, that's who you relate them with from the beginning.
Yep.
So it's interesting that Paul and Haley went home and they weren't.
And the two original
partners,
couples,
and,
Jasmine and Aaron, are
they
together.
kind of came back. Yeah.
And they've gone through the competition together, and even when they split up and did the All-Stars, we were so connected to them already.
As partners. Yeah, even as a contestant, you're always connected to your partner. Like,
Well, last week we had, they came back together, Audrey and Matthew, and so it was so cool that they were,
they still have a strong friendship.
Share a bond. Yeah,
so cool, and it's really awesome to see that, because as an audience member, you think
connect
that,
to them.
and you hope that is what's actually happening, and it's really cool that is how it goes.
And it's genuine. I love that. And then we go into Aaron and Jasmine, the Sean Cheeseman jazz number, to finish out the night.
I felt bad for Aaron in this one, I must say. I think he was really tired. I think physically he was just tired.
And it was quicker. It was quicker
So
than
fast.
normal. Like, he's very, like, up and down. Like, his levels are constantly changing always. So
And he's bigger, so
he's huge. So it's like
going into plie is a lot farther than us going into plie.
And even like when he did that like dive to the floor thing
was
with the
so
feet
cool.
on, it was really cool. But I
great.
was like, oh my God, I'm tired from just watching.
It's a cool concept.
I almost wish they had just one more day to rehearse with that wall, because
Agreed.
the run she had at the end, I felt if they had another day, they could have really like gotten up the wall and all the really cool wall work. I think they could have.
I'm sure they wished
brought it
that
up.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
They get the 5 hours.
Yeah, and you know
that's
what?
it.
You know what's different too is a mirror in a rehearsal room. It's hot, and so your feet can stick to it. And so I'm sure when they were working on that mirror,
It was probably
it was probably different. And then they get to dress rehearsal, and that's the first time they have to work with that prop, and it's a little bit different. And so, plus the closing number. That's a hard dance.
And then you're going into elimination. So, is this my last dance or
And his
what?
poor shoulder, they had to dance 3 times. My God.
Did you see that in the package? You also saw the tape that's on his shoulder.
Which I'm glad, because I think, like we were saying,
People were like,
he
well,
didn't
what
talk
happened?
about it. So, okay, but I must say, I have to have that Jasmine costume. I have to have that. That was like Britney Spears VMAs, and I have to have
she looked
it.
amazing.
She did.
He's always down for like the cat suit kind of thing.
I love it.
Or in the 80s, it was called a unitard. A unitard.
Catsuit is sexier.
Way sexier. You gotta like spice it up. We're gonna put you in a unitard, but we're gonna call it a catsuit. So you get to the eliminations. Haley knew. Remember Molly Gray when she was here? She said you kind of know when it's your week to go. You feel it. You know.
You could see it in her face.
You could see it in her face, and I think sometimes if you reconcile with that, you're pretty good. You're like, this is my week.
I love that she was smiling and she was just. And Kat mentioned it, and she was like, you know what, like. There's nothing that I'm sad about because I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, and when you're in that position, you kind of just like, you do the best that you can. So it's kind of like you look back and you're like, well, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
And I think that this year too, like last year was so tough with season 9 because they got rid of the elimination show. It was just kind of a rhythm that got interrupted with the Olympics and everything else. Season 10 has had a really nice rhythm, great talent. It's been fun to watch. It's been fun to see the contestants.
Yeah.
You got this great ride. You're going on tour. You're going to be working after that.
Yeah.
No one's losing.
Paul and her both really, like we were saying earlier, didn't have a misstep. They don't really have anything to be sad about.
Not at all.
They're just like, I just got to show the world weekly how great of a dancer I am.
Yep.
And that's really cool.
It is really amazing. And it's interesting. I was a little surprised because I had talked with some of the followers of our show and everything. I'm like, mark my words, Paul will be in the finale. I was completely wrong. But, you know, when Nigel...
You never know.
You never know. And when Nigel said, take a look at Twitter followers, that's who gets pushed into the finale, it makes me think, like, Fiction has the most Twitter followers, as does Amy. Are those your winners?
Interesting.
I don't know. I don't know. You know, social media does play a huge part now.
It totally does. Do you know that when I was on the show, we weren't allowed to have social media?
Melanie,
we had to delete
MySpace. We had to delete. I had to delete my MySpace, delete my Facebook, forget Twitter. Who even knew what Twitter was? Like, we were not allowed to have any of it.
No, I remember. I think it was Melanie's season. I think it was season 8 when they all started getting Twitters.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first season, and because I remember interviewing them on the red carpet and being like, oh my God, I have to follow them on Twitter. I have to tweet them.
Yep.
Where before that
now it's like
didn't happen.
first,
Yeah, and now they have to, and they say, you know, they say like Melanie, season 9 or season 8.
Season 8
you know?
Melanie.
So crazy.
Yeah, season 8 Melanie is their names.
All right, let me get to these questions really quick because we only have a few minutes left and a lot of really interesting ones. This is from Megan. She said, my question is that in season 4, the best season ever, Courtney and Mark dance the original Sonia piece being the amazing garden routine. Do you have any thought on this year's routines that'll go down as one of the iconic ones?
Oh, I definitely loved Tucker's and Jenna's. The hanging by a thread. I thought that was amazing.
That's good. That was
And I
Travis.
was a big fan of Stacey Tukey's. I know it was a group routine, Young and Beautiful with the girls.
The girls.
Yes.
Holy cannoli. I thought that was like unreal.
2 really good pieces.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I thought Travis's was really great last week. There was a lot this season
It's been a
that were
nice
pretty
season.
epic. Yeah.
Jonathan, and he's in El Salvador right now, so he creates these amazing hashtags for us every single week. What was it like working on Glee? He's a Gleek, I guess.
It was a blast. It was a total blast. I loved the cast. I got the chance to tour with them. They were super great.
Fun.
It was kind of cool. I got to act too. So the fact I met my boyfriend, so it was all pretty good.
I love that. Cecile, what has been the toughest part of the show as an all-star and as a contestant?
That's a great question.
Oh, you have a lot to prove when you're an all-star. You know,
I think it's more nerve-wracking.
It's really nerve-wracking because you don't want to outshine your contestant. You just want to make sure that you're there for them and that, you know, you're just as good as they are because the talent these days is insane.
And you're back in front of Nigel. Like, that's a little nerve-wracking.
Because it's like they say you're not being judged, but get out of here. You're being judged.
It's because if he doesn't like it, he's not bringing you back
Absolutely.
again. Let's be honest.
No, it's true.
And they're used to judging you anyway, so I know it's hard for them to turn it off.
To just not judge us.
Yeah, and you were saying earlier, and I'd love for you to say it again, when you talk about the talent on the show, but how you guys felt like you weren't as talented?
Yeah, because our first rehearsal last week, everybody's just went so smoothly and and we were like, what the heck? And so Twitch and I were talking, and I was like, you know what? It's because they're such better dancers than we are, but it's like they're technicians, so what's harder for them is to connect to a piece, to get on the emotional level of performing, and so we're the complete opposite. It was like our technique really could use some work, but we weren't afraid to get emotional and
You just
go there.
out
you
there.
know?
Sometimes I think the competition circuit dancers have like the patented faces and stuff like
Right.
that, and you have to learn to like let that go and feel from here instead
Right.
of the trained face.
Yeah.
And I think that happens. One final question from Elizabeth. She wants to commend you for overcoming your battles and getting back on the dance floor. One would not even know it's possible to display that much confidence of one's body.
Completely.
Since completing the show, what has been your greatest accomplishment career-wise?
My greatest accomplishment career-wise. I got the chance to be in a movie with Al Pacino.
Oh.
Called Stand Up Guys, and
That was out earlier this summer, right?
yeah, it was a one-on-one scene with Mr. Pacino, Mr. Michael
incredible.
Corleone, and he's like, I mean, when I got that phone call that I got that job, the first one I called was my dad, because like that man loves The Godfather, and I would say that's a pretty cool one.
And you got to dance with him.
Yeah, like it was literally like Scent of a Woman, where where I got to slow dance with Al. It
Oh
was
my
pretty
gosh.
unbelievable.
That's got to be on your reel.
Yeah, that was probably
That's a highlight.
That's probably my favorite one.
We want to
for
thank you
sure.
so much for being
Thanks
here.
for having me.
I
I
know.
love
We
the
love
show.
having you
So
back.
much for coming.
And just a big reminder, September 22nd.
Yes.
So, and remind everyone where they can find that.
You could register, you could join a team, you could donate at www.thebeatms.com.
And where can find you.
Yes, you can. There's Team So You Think You Can Dance, Team Hit the Floor. So I hope to see Team AfterBuzz.
Team AfterBuzz, and you're at Courtney Galiano for
At
Twitter.
Courtney Galiano on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook.
You can find me at Chloe West X on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm gonna make a prediction. I think it's gonna be Jasmine and Fiction.
All right, see if you change your mind after next week because I have all the dances.
I know.
We've got one more week in between the
I
finals.
know,
so
but
we'll-
I want to do it now. I want to do it.
All right, we'll see.
You never know.
I'm Kristyn Burtt, at Kristyn Burtt, and redcarpetcloset.tv for all of your comments on the show and everything else. We want to thank you for joining us. Twitch and Allison will be here next week.
Yay!
And AJ will be back in the seat, and Jake will be joining us as well. Thanks so much for joining us here on AfterBuzz TV.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.